Joining me now is Francis Ghilès, a North African specialist. Let's begin with the news about those two anti-establishment candidates doing so well in the first round of the presidential election. What do we know about these two men, and more importantly, why did they appeal so much to the electorate?
Well, first of all, the vote, the very low turnout, I must say, particularly amongst young people, amounts to a revolt against the system, a rejection of the system. Many young Tunisians are utterly disgusted with the way politics have been practiced in Tunis. Now, in the West, we persist in calling this democratic politics, but it's not democratic politics because the courts have not been reformed. The amount of dirty money washing around is huge. The infighting between the different parties and within the different parties, including the Islamists, is huge. And as a result, Tunisia's debt has doubled in the last 6 years. Growth is at 1%. Unemployment is as high as it's ever been. And those who revolted against Ben Ali, particularly from the poorer towns in the hinterland, have seen nothing in their favor in the last 8 years. They've seen their standard of living going down. And may I point out that in 2011, this was a revolt which decapitated the system. In no way was it a revolution.
It is a blow also at the same time to Ennahda, isn't it?
Well, Ennahda is divided. They put forward a candidate, Mr. Mourou, who looks very nice, the man about town. But in fact, underhand, they supported the man who's come out with the greatest number of votes. The hardline people in Ennahda have supported this professor of constitutional law, who's a hardliner, who's against equality between men and women, who appeals to a kind of virile view of Tunisia, and who says, quite rightly actually, that the martyrs of the revolution, i.e. the young people who died in the streets in 2010, 2011, haven't got anything for their money. So Ennahda officially has been damaged like the other parties. It's playing a double game. It's got the nice face of Mr. Mourou, and underhand, many of its hardliners support the man who's come out with the most votes. So they're not going to lose either way.
So as a result, given what you're saying, are you expecting Kais Saied to do well in a runoff?
Well, he'll certainly do well. The question is whom he's got in front of him, because Nabil Karoui is a man who I'm sure he has certain aspects of his business career which are not particularly clear nor clean, but then that's true of most of industrialists in Tunisia and indeed in North Africa. So there. But when he was put behind bars, he was put behind bars in a way which violated the legal system, because the decision to put him behind bars should have been taken by the investigating magistrate. But the investigating magistrate froze his assets in Tunisia and took away his passport. But it was the indictment division of the court which actually slammed him behind bars, which is totally against the laws of Tunisia. And therefore, if one is going to, and this was done at the incitement of the prime minister, who saw him as a rival. And I think this poses a major problem. Mr. Karoui, as I said, has his faults, but he also has backers in the establishment who are some of the best industrialists in Tunisia. So the way he's being presented as the embodiment of money laundering, personally, I have grave doubts as to whether this really stands up to proper investigation. So we have two people who will face each other up. God knows what happens. What is for sure is that the Tunisian economy is deteriorating. The debt is twice what it was 8 years ago, double GDP. Whoever runs Tunisia is going to be faced with very major problems of reforms, of reining in expenditure. Tunisia cannot continue to borrow abroad to finance a hugely inflated civil service whose numbers have increased by 20 or 25% since 2011. So the real problems the chickens will come home to roost, whoever runs Tunisia.
Francis Ghilès, thank you so much.